It's the Write That Reset Podcast. So thanks, guys, for clicking the podcast. What we're going to try to do is really try to explore the boundaries of consciousness. And you ask yourself, what is he talking about? What I want to do is really be a platform to introduce you guys to some unique individuals who offer such a broad range of views about what life is and what this is we're all doing. And I find there's a lot of people out there that are willing to tell you their answer about what life is and the reason we're here. And I just wanted a place people could come and do that and for you guys to make your own judgment. So in this segment, you'll hear the guests talk about consciousness, and their take is kind of on a Buddhism view of it and the Buddhist view of what consciousness is. And we're going to get into this in more depth in future episodes. But here's a little taste, and here's what they had to say.
That's true.
We all go, or none of us go. That's why the Buddhist philosophy is, even though I'm going to heaven, I'm going to wait at heaven's door until you come too. So we all need to go. Or
is that really the Buddhist saying?
Yeah.
Wow.
We all go, or none of us go. So we all need to change in order to go.
So,
and heaven's on.
What happens then when you die in the physical world?
You get
what ends? Do you reincarnate and vibrate and still try to...
You reincarnate and you get another chance to try again, basically.
Okay.
But my curiosity is there any gap in between reincarnation and physical death? Do we get to experience...
Yeah, like a DMT high.
Yeah.
Like, is that in between, and do we decide you can come back to the physical world to try again?
There was people, like, legit on the news, like, you could actually research them.
That what?
That came back and was like, I died in an airplane, and I want to say something to my friend or something like that. And he actually went to this older gentleman, and the guy was like, I'm so-and-so, blah, blah, blah.
That's awesome.
And he's, like, 5.
But no,
we'll have to find that because we'll post a link.
The 5-year-old was born in the United States somewhere. A little fella, and he told his parents, he said, in my last life I was a monk, and he named the temple and everything, and that he was 5.
Okay.
And then, it could be bullshit, but
I mean, what 5-year-old knows the word monk?
But I mean, the whole story could be bullshit, but you don't know.
Yeah, okay.
It's true, it's pretty remarkable.
Okay.
If the kid actually, and now this kid, he went back to the
monastery or whatever.
No, that's a Catholic
That's where
thing.
Catholic people will go to.
The monk place.
I don't know. The monk place.
Something like that, though. It's a word like that.
I don't know where they go, but he's there now studying with the Shaolin monks again.
Wow.
At 5.
Because he remembered that.
Because he was, my guess is in his previous life, his meditation was so good that he was able to retain his own self.
But that's what they say in quantum mechanics is consciousness is non-local. Like it's not here.
It's non-local. It's anywhere.
So, but how do you manifest it? How did that Buddhist monk get to a point where he could remember?
You can do it. Everybody can do it. Like extremely common. I think that's why not the Romans, but the Inca, the Mayans, I think they all had this information, and that's why they were such an advanced societies without technology. They didn't have technology, but they had great knowledge.
They knew they could come back. But did like the Mayans and shit know that? Do you think they progressed to a point where they knew they could come back? Like after death wasn't to be feared? So. And maybe that's why they mummified people to preserve their bodies and bury them with all their treasure and shit because they're going to need it when they come back.
Well, those are Egyptians. I don't know what the
Egyptians.
Yeah,
I think so.
That's the center of their culture.
So we asked an interesting question about reincarnation. After death, is there a gap? And what is that gap? Is that gap what people call heaven? Is that gap what Joe Rogan describes when he describes his DMT trips? Is DMT a drug that we can use to get to that gap? So an interesting question. Feel free to weigh in on it, guys, and send us your opinion. So some of you out there might smoke weed. So I thought I'd ask the guests their opinions on it and the legalization of it.
Legalizing marijuana. Yeah. Having a place to go, like Superstore, you could buy weed.
As a pot smoker, I don't feel as though I want to see it legalized because it's better when it's not.
Yeah.
We get it cheaper. And it's more THC and it's better.
Yeah.
And think of, you would tax the substance, just like you do to alcohol or whatever. We'd be pulled into the fiscal deficit within like 2 years.
That's true.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, they would.
What I was thinking about the other day the people that are 60, 55 and up or whatever are coming from the 70s. So they grew up kind of in the same mentality that our generation is. So I think it'll get better. And I think right now, if you grew up in like 40 years from now, are you going to sit in a legislator and say, I don't think they should legalize marijuana? No. You're going to be like, I think we should legalize it. Like, I did it. I do it. Like, so that's what I mean. And I think everybody from the 70s are starting to become in power, and we're going to see change. That's standing up. I know. Because Buddy's sitting in the room with his grandparents, essentially. And they're like, he doesn't want to be like,
and his fear is that his job, his success, it relies on people knowing that he didn't smoke weed in high school and
that's
college.
That's what's happening.
So the guests kind of share the same view as a lot of us would as far as the legalization of marijuana goes. And feel free, guys, to comment in the comment section and just give us your opinion on what you think. So the next segment, we're kind of talking about Price is Right and why it's on at 12, and then we kind of get into about why they put soap operas on in the afternoon. Why is a soap opera not a primetime thing? Why is it specifically targeted for the audience that's watching it then? Here's what we thought.
40-year-old woman, home alone, 3 kids. She just watched Price is Right or Ellen, but now the soaps are on, and she's like, fuck yeah, soaps are on, the kids are
It's her way of getting off.
Yeah, exactly. And then her husband gets home, and he's like, fucking, baby, you want to have sex? She's like, yeah. And she's like, thinking about fucking Days of Our Lives all fucking night. Bitch!
Fucking bitch.
We call that...
Days of Our Lives.
That's called a soap squirt.
I apologize, guys, for the soap squirt. No, if you want a soap squirt t-shirt, write me. So up next, we really get into kind of what the basis of the show is. Like we said at the first, it's going to be a show where we explore consciousness. So the next segment, we're talking about kind of my personal belief of how consciousness began. It's really heavily rooted in the Egyptian belief, and we'll get into that in an episode, guys. But this is kind of a taste of what we're going to get into.
Basically, consciousness consciously decided for space, and then it just how it manipulates around and expands and expands and expands. That's the Big Bang. It's based on Egypt. That's what the Egyptians thought.
Yeah, they were absolutely right.
Yeah, and then Christianity comes from that. Like, so the Bible somewhat makes sense because it's like on the second day there was light, but the second movement of consciousness, they're like, well, that would create the elementary particle photon.
It's just you gotta when you read the Bible, it's symbolic of the real meaning. You can't read it word for word for what the Bible says.
Oh, yeah. But why do we value somebody that does do that?
Because
why is he respected in society? The guy that values they're believing in a Jewish zombie.
It's because of generational gaps. I mean, every year, when your kids are born, you teach them the same things that you know, and your kids truly believe that because that's what their parents taught them. But is it because we have such good access to information now that we're kind of branching away from the church? Like,
where was we going with that story?
Write That Reset. We'll be right back. Crisp bag of Old Dutch chips. Old Dutch chips. Get yours today.
Old Dutch snack in the windmill pack.
So sorry about the commercial, guys. Actually, I'm not. That was awesome. So we got back on track and continued our conversation on consciousness.
Because consciousness is a growing, living thing, like whatever.
A source or whatever.
The farther that you look, the farther that you're always going to see. That's why space is always constantly expanding at a faster rate. The farther that we perceive it to be, the farther it will be.
Oh, that's why we can never. That's why there's nothing on the outside of consciousness. It's conscious.
I think if you could reach the edge of the universe, I think it's the old paradox that you'll see yourself sort of thing.
But where does it have to start? Like, where does consciousness start?
Big Bang.
But what started the Big Bang?
It didn't start at the Big Bang. Consciousness.
That's what I wonder. I'm like, okay, I understand that the beginning of everything.
Yeah, but
was
what
the
was
Big
there?
Bang.
And people say conscious thought, so then you say what
created consciousness.
Exactly. They say because we can't view that at this dimension. You can only see it from the fifth.
Yeah.
When we enter the fifth dimension, you'll understand all of this.
That's true.
Yeah,
and they thought the people of Atlantis and shit were from the fifth dimension.
Possible.
They lived on. We have remnants of them in the third dimension, but really they were, or fourth dimension that we're in now because of time.
Yeah.
Well, now they think Atlantis people are living in the they live in the fifth dimension. We can't see them. They can see us. They know they exist, but they've made their way to that. So we have remnants, and people say like, no shit, like this civilization is here. I don't think the whole Atlantis thing is that crazy. Like that you're made to think. Like they just.
So people have discovered the fifth dimension.
But mathematically it is. They can see it in math. But we can't see it.
All the dimensions
know it's
is a
there.
directional change and a perfect right angle from the previous dimension.
Yeah.
So the fifth dimension is.
We don't know what it is.
We don't know. We can't even fathom
it. It's like a two-dimensional object trying to fathom what a three-dimensional.
Yeah.
Like you can't do it. A two-dimensional thing, when you can't even fathom what 3 dimensions is.
Yeah.
2 dimensions is everything.
Yeah, because a sphere in 2D looks like a lot.
But we can see 3D.
Yeah.
Because we're 3-dimensional creatures.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the way.
Well, are there creatures that can only see 2D?
Could be. There could be.
But we don't see them.
But that's why they say universes can be literally on top of each other.
We're parallel universes.
It's just we can't even perceive each other. But that's why they think like Atlantis and even some of these civilizations have made their way to the fifth dimension. Like there are civilizations as big as Toronto. Like the Maya, I don't know how many Mayan. We're probably not that big, but there's like a huge number of people that just vanish.
I think they reached the state of enlightenment and went to the next
fifth dimension. They're here. They're still developing as a civilization. We just can't see them.
That's what I always thought.
Yeah.
So a lot of really cool topics, guys. Again, I just wanted to give you a taste of what we're going to be talking about this season. I hope you come back for episode 2. I'm Moose Blue, and I am going to bed, and so should you.